Thank you, Mona Lisa. Uh, that was a
Please give
very
me a
good.
minute.
Sure,
Sorry, just a minute for the presentation.
sure. And while you bring up the presentation, Mona Lisa, everybody of us, all of us keep thinking, who is a customer, who is a client, am I a customer, or what am I doing here? So we'll just talk about it. And over the years, I have firmly believed that we only have customers and sellers, buyers and sellers. Now, it doesn't mean in the regular terms that where there is an exchange of money, somebody is a buyer or a seller. I look at it things little differently with my experience, and I'm trying to share all these topics based on my experiences. And I have always believed that if we focus on the customer, so it becomes a customer centric approach, and if the customer succeeds, we succeed anyway along with the customer. So with that in mind, I have a brief agenda which I will talk about. uh, so if we can go to the next slide, Mona Lisa. Yeah. So we'll talk briefly about what I mean by customer centric approach. When we say customer centric approach, I would also talk about who is a customer. Now, these are, as you may understand, my personal views based on my experiences. And this has worked for me, and which I'm going to share with everyone. There are external customers, internal customers. Then we will also identify needs of a customer. Then what are the essentials which are needed to make sure the customer is delighted, not just satisfied. Typically, what is the approval process in an organization, and what are the key takeaways? And after that, obviously, we will have some question and answers. So we'll do that. Over to the next slide, Mona Lisa, please. So when we say customer centric approach, I have always believed that think of your customer. Now this could be as an individual or as an organization. If you think of your customer, which means you're thinking of how you can help the customer, how you can help the customer grow or that organization grow. It could be you're selling a product or a service, but if you have the customer's interest in mind, the customer will certainly appreciate it. For that, you have to understand the customer, you have to understand the culture of the organization, you have to understand what they genuinely need, and then you have to identify how can your product or service help the customer. It could be possible that your product fits in to the T in the customer's organization, or the service you're selling is needed by the customer. Or it may also be possible that you don't meet all the requirements, but then you are expected to be transparent and open and say that this can help in this manner, but it may not meet 100% of your needs. And trust me, the customers appreciate that transparency. They do not want somebody overselling, and later on they should not get an impression that I was cheated, this was not told to me. And of course, if the customer succeeds, you will be a part of the success. One other area which I wish to bring in, I have also considered my team members. I have had a lot of corporate experience. I have handled multi-locational, multifunctional teams. And I have always believed that, if you help your team succeed, now if you look at your team as your internal customer, if your team succeeds, you are going to be successful anyway. So you have to determine who is your customer and help your customer succeed. So can we move on to the next slide, please? Now, generally, it is said that if I sell a product, an item, the person or the organization is called a customer. And if you are selling services, they are called clients. But client customer, essentially they are the same. You are selling a product or a service. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I used to look at my team members as my internal customers. I believe there are two types of customers, internal and external. External customers are people who buy from us. When they buy from us, it could be a product or a service, so they become our external customers. We are selling it to somebody, or if you are going to buy a refrigerator, you are the customer and the company or the shop selling it becomes the seller. Likewise, I have always believed there are internal customers also. Now, these internal customers are our superiors, our associates, our team members, our other stakeholders. Now, if you look at it, that if my team members are my internal customers, which means I have to satisfy them, I have to make them grow, then you will do everything to help your team grow. You might share knowledge with them, you will groom them, you will make sure they are successful. So as you're trying to have external customers who get the best, you should also see that your internal customers also get the best, and only then everything is hunky dory. Now people look at it, oh, I'm satisfied with this, but then your motive should be how to delight. Now satisfaction is if your requirements are met. I would take another example at this point in time. If you want to buy a refrigerator, you get a refrigerator, you're satisfied. But when you go to the shop, any of these big shops selling white goods, the gentleman there or the lady there will ask you, you want a refrigerator, you want a 2-door or a 3-door, what is the capacity you're looking for, then which color preference do you have, what is the size do you have in mind. So they will gradually keep asking questions. Now your requirement when you entered the shop was, I'm going to buy a refrigerator, but the salesperson has extracted information from you, and then they will suggest that, sir, given all your needs, that you want this color, this size, 2-door, 3-door, you want the freezer section at the bottom, not at the top. So they will say, we recommend that these 2-3 models which are best suited for your needs. When you buy that fridge, obviously you're delighted. You say that, oh, what a wonderful purchase I have got. I not only I got a decent discount or a decent rate, but at the same time, they really gave me everything which helps me at my house. So you're delighted. Likewise, an organization, if you are selling them a good product or a service, they should be delighted. They should say, they go beyond the requirements, you meet their expectations, which are untold, and then they get delighted. That's how delight has to be achieved. Can we move on, please? So, like we discussed, external customers or clients are who buy from us. We may be selling a service or a product. There could be various stakeholders who are involved. It is not just the person in front of us from the procurement team. There will be other technical stakeholders. There could be others who are involved in the chain. So all these stakeholders are involved. So they become our customer. Now, one more dimension I wish to bring in at this point in time, which is intentional customers and unintentional customers. What I felt over the years was, intentional customers is, I know what I want. As an organization, I know I want a training to be conducted. So I look out for training organizations who can give me something, or who can deliver the relevant training. Or if I want a specific service, I know I want it and I look for those people. So then I become an intentional customer because I know what I want. So as an intentional customer, I know what I want. I know when I want. I know why I want it. Now it could be a compliance in information security, for example, ISO 27000, for example, or ISO 9000. So I know why I want it. I know when I want it. I know what I want. I also know the duration when it is required. And all I need is some help and guidance to tell me that, okay, this is how it needs to be done. This is how it can be done. This will be the cost. So my intent is very clear. I'm very clear what I want. So there are these types of customers who are intentional customers. Now we come to the other dimension, which over the years I felt was always there but never exposed. These are the unintentional customers. Now, what do you mean unintentional customers? They do not have any intention of buying. They are forced to do something. Because they are forced to do something, it could be like, say a software company is there, they are trying to enter the European market. They are forced to do GDPR compliances, or they are trying to enter the US market. They may be forced to do CCPA, which is the California Consumer Protection Act, because they are entering the California market. Or there could be other compliances which they are forced to do. 1 minute. Now, these are unintentional customers because their end customer is forcing them, they want to do it. Now, coming to a personal situation, there could be some domestic needs. Your family members may say, we need a bigger house, or we need a better refrigerator, or we need an air conditioner, it gets too warm in summer. You may not be really feeling the need for it, but your family insists on getting it, so you have to buy it. So while when it comes to the family, yes, there is an intention also, but there is also an unintentional purchase, because you may not be ready to spend the money at this time, but because your family needs it, you still want to buy it. Now, many of these unintentional customers, their organization or their end customer has told them what they want, but they really don't know what they want, they don't know why they want, but they are expected to procure it. So that is what happens, because say an intentional customer is making preparations, or acquiring that knowledge. What is it, why is it, how will it help me? Unintentional customer is always a reluctant customer. So unintentional customers, since they are reluctant customers, they are always feeling that, oh, this organization is forcing me to do this, or my family is forcing me to do this. And then because of their reluctance, they don't do adequate preparation or try to find out details. Now, one of the jobs or one of the better approaches is to convert the unintentional customers into intentional customers. Now, if it is family, then the family should tell them, say how warm it gets, we need this. So try to convert them into intentional. Or if the organization is there, the end customer will tell them, see, we want this compliance, but it will also improve your own company. You are going on a continuous improvement path. So that way you try to convert the unintentional customer into intentional customers, and then probably they will acquire more details, and then they are happy to make that purchase. Next slide, please, Mona Lisa. Thank you. Now, these external customers, as we said, are people who buy from us. Multiple stakeholders are involved. Now, I'll just run through a few types of external customers whom I have come across over the years. There could be many more. Some are difficult and critical. They will criticize everything. They will find faults in whatever you tell. But then when we are trying to sell something as an organization, we have to make sure, you have to look at it positively, saying that when they are critical, that means they are looking at that product and trying to find out the details, or looking at our service offering and trying to find out what is it. So we should positively look at it and give the explanation so that all the critical approach will stop gradually. Difficult people are, yes, when they are critical, they can be difficult. Whatever you ask them, they say, I don't know, I will find out. But then you have to try to understand what is their pain point and address that pain point so that they will become less difficult or they will be more amenable. Some of them have a very high ego. I am the customer, I'm paying for it. So their ego is very high. So at times you have to placate their ego. There is nothing wrong in saying sir or ma'am, or or when you want to book their time for a meeting, you request them, sir, please tell me which time is convenient for you, so that they are happy that they are given that importance. Some feel they are important because they are a buyer. Give them their importance. Some of them genuinely know what they want, why they want it, like intentional customers. Some are willing to listen, understand what is being proposed, and they are willing to think about it. So even if they are unintentional customers, some of them may be willing to listen. So they will hear you out. They will probably ask a few questions, but they are ready to think about it and consider whatever they are being told. Some are genuinely knowledgeable. They are well read. They may be exposed to certain situations, so they are genuinely knowledgeable. I have written one more knowledgeable. Now, these knowledgeable other areas are Google and Wikipedia experts. In front of you, they will go to Google, they will make a search, and they will ask you some questions. So these are all the Google, WhatsApp, Wikipedia experts. Even it is very unfortunate when we go to a doctor, many individuals will look up uh, Google, and then they feel that they know as much as the doctor, and they will start questioning the doctor. So these are all the specialists of Google and WhatsApp and Wikipedia. Yeah, next slide, please. Now, when we talk external customers who are of different types, there are internal customers who could be our superiors, our teammates, our associates, other stakeholders. Like you may be giving some MIS report to somebody which goes to 4 people. One of them is your boss, but the other 3 are not associated with you, but they are the stakeholders. They have an interest in what the report says. So all these become our internal customers. Now, what I have experienced over the years, if you really want to improve the quality of your service or your product or whatever work you're doing, this can be improved by the internal customers. Because when you deliver something, if you make a report and give it to your boss can say, no, I need these 4 additional columns, or the other stakeholders will say, you also include this, or you refine this report, or you reformat it. Now, with all this, what happens is the quality is improved. Likewise, when you're developing a product which can be sold outside, the internal customers, the developer or the manufacturing person will do something, but their quality testing team will say, no, this is not correct by 1 millimeter, so it needs to be changed. So you replace that product. So that way, the quality gets improved, and this is improved only by the internal customers. When it goes to the external customers, it is gone. The external customer will say this product is very good or this is rubbish. But the chance to improve that product is when it is internal. So your product, your service offering, or your manufactured product, whatever you're doing, or even your basic reports or any work that you do, can be improved by the internal customers. Yeah, next slide, please, Mona Lisa. Now, when we are talking customers, are we far behind sellers? No. Anybody who is selling a product, selling a solution, selling a service is a seller. Even the shopkeeper is a seller. Now, what the seller should do, any seller, is understand the customer, understand the needs and wants of the customer, and once you understand, only if you know what the customer exactly wants, customer or client, then you understand the needs, you understand the culture of that organization, and then you are able to propose the right solution. And obviously, it involves a lot of discussion before you propose the right solution. And like I mentioned in the earlier slides, if you feel a suitable solution or a suitable product is not available, be transparent and explain that they want to help the customer, but they cannot help the customer because their solution will not meet the needs of the customer. Trust me, the customer or the client will be very appreciative because you are being honest and transparent, and they will also appreciate that you have understood the needs of the customer and tried your best to propose the right solution. What happens in reality also is some sellers, when they feel they have a niche market and, I'm the best kinds. But, any seller, if you are selling something or if you are selling a solution or a service or a product, if it is successful within 2-3 months, there will be a competitor which comes in. So your initial success or I would say the best approach, what you say, think, or my product is the best, is only for 3 months to 6 months because there will be competitors. But still, there are these some of these sellers who say, take it or leave it. You may have experienced this when you visit a shop to buy something, this hi-fi shops. They'll say, no, no, this is the price, take it or leave it. So they have, some of them have that attitude. They think I'm selling a superior product. So if you want something, you contact me. I will not come to you. Because again, they feel it's their niche product, so people come to them. Some sellers resort to, overselling or cheating or misguiding the customer. They will propose an unsuitable product or service, oversell the product or service just to make a sale. But like I mentioned earlier, if you feel your product or service will not meet the needs of the customer, because you should understand the customer's needs and wants, be transparent and tell. But in reality, there are people who oversell and just to make a sale, and then there could be complications or litigations which happen. Next slide, please, Mona Lisa. Thank you. So, as I said, you have to analyze the needs of the customer. You have to discuss with them. So, initially, they have a requirement. Then you bring out all the points of requirements. Requirements are always stated. Expectations are not stated. Like, if I say I want a fast laptop, that is my requirement. But what do you mean by fast? So if somebody will question me that, sir, does it mean that when you press the on button, it should come up in 10 seconds or it should come up in 30 seconds? So if I say, okay, I'm happy if it starts up or boots up in 30 seconds, then they know that, my expectation, which was 30 seconds, has got converted to requirement now. That means I need a laptop with minimum 30 seconds or less startup time. So that way, with question and answer session, with discussions, all the expectations which are in my mind are brought out and converted to requirements. Now, initially, I want to buy a laptop. So the requirement is laptop. But then when I get a laptop with 30-second boot up time and, 8 GB RAM and XYZ, I will be delighted. I will tell, oh, what a great shop this is and what a fantastic laptop I've got. And likewise for any organization, when they want a service or a product, if it meets all their untold requirements, which are expectations in reality, then obviously they are delighted. And what the goal of any seller should be, how to delight the client or the customer, not just get satisfied client, but a delighted client or a customer. And many a times most customers come on price initially. They will say, "Oh, this service cost me 10,000 less from company XYZ. Let me go to them." But then they do not know that the quality may suffer. But so any customer initially, some customers will look at quality and price both. Some will look only at price, so they may come on price. But obviously, the second order is always based on quality. If your quality deliverables are not there, if your product does not meet their quality, you will not buy that. Even a simple electric bulb. When you go to buy, you have made up your mind that you want a Philips bulb or you want some other brand bulb, because you know that this quality is good. So even with the internal customers, if you understand requirements are you're supposed to deliver something, but as we said, expectations are go beyond that. So you find out what are the expectations of your boss, what are the expectations of your other stakeholders, or if you're manufacturing a product, what are the expectations? Have you clearly detailed out all these expectations, and then you bring out a superior product. And at all times you have to communicate. When I say communicate, you have to discuss. You discuss with the internal team, external team, you discuss with the stakeholders, because only with discussions you can bring out all these details. Next slide please, Mona Lisa. Now once you discuss and you get all the needs of the client, now for an organization, I know my client wants a certain type of training, a certain type of compliance, then I know how I can help that organization, or a client or an organization needs a product. Then I know, because I'm discussing with them, I know what exactly they want, what are their expectations, because I have discussed with them. So some of the expectations or most of the expectations are converted to requirements. So I know what offering can be done to them as a product or as a service. One of the things which I have always kept in mind is the client has to have continuous improvement. Now, when I say continuous improvement, even look at your own personal life. You may say, I have a 330-liter fridge, refrigerator. After a few years, you will say, oh, I need a 500-liter refrigerator. So what is that? You are improving. You may have a one-bedroom apartment, you want a two-bedroom apartment, so you are continuous improvement. You have a scooter or a two-wheeler, then you want a four-wheeler, a car, then you want a better car. So likewise, continuous improvement is there. So in organizations also, you have to think how will the organization continuously improve. So if you tell the client or the customer that, with my product, your organization will improve in this manner, it will benefit in this manner, the client also understands, yes, this seller is keeping my interest in mind. He is guiding me how I will improve with this product or this service. So, and that should be the motive all along. Because when we say no continuous improvement, it means stagnation, no value add, no employee growth, no organization growth, etc., etc. So continuous improvement is a must. Continuous improvement also helps that you are one step better than the competition, because there will always be competition. So a, an organization cannot afford to lose business. So they have to keep on improvising. Technology is changing very fast. Every 6 months, the mobile phone that you have purchased 6 months earlier is outdated because something new has come up. 2G became 3G, 3G became 4G, 4G is becoming 5G now. Nowadays, whether it is a service or it is a product, there could be uncertainties and there could be a lot of options available because there are too many competitors. So everybody will give a similar product. The look and feel might be different, but the product, the functionality will be the same. The service will be the same. There will be multiple companies offering the similar service offering. Now, many a times there is a mismatch between expectations and reality. Now, this mismatch will happen because of overselling. Somebody will say, I am selling you the moon, while in reality, they'll just give something else. Uh, Continuous improvement, again, it will help the organization be the best if they keep on continuously improving. So, you have to tell the client as a seller that if you do all this, it will help your organization grow, and we are here to help you grow, because if you grow, along with you we will also grow. So we as a seller can facilitate the customer to achieve their goals. So as a seller, you should always highlight the customer's interest in mind. Yeah, next slide please. About internal customers also, there could be mismatch between expectations and reality, and that is where I have said that you should discuss extensively with your stakeholders and your boss, so that all the requirements are clear. Now typically people keep asking me, is marketing a cost center or a profit center? Some say it is a cost center, some say it is a profit center. Now there are costs incurred. Obviously, there is a lot of pre-sales effort. There are need for technical expert on pre-sales calls. When you send out 100 emails, for example, maybe 10 of them may reply. You may talk to these 10 where there is a lot of pre-sales effort, discussions. Somebody is investing time in that. There may be also a need for a technical expert if you're selling a product or a service. A technical expert might also be needed to explain to the customer or the client what is there. So all this is, I look at it as investment of time, and it should become profit center. Profit center means what? You should cover all the costs and gain more profits. Now that is possible if you reduce the marketing cycle time. Instead of making 10 calls, if you are able to get it in 5 calls, you're reducing the effort. You're acquiring new customers, you're using all digital platforms. You try to get additional work from existing customers that since you have discussed with them, that they have purchased product X, but product Y also they will need after some time, or they would need some service or a compliance at a later date. So if you can guide them, don't push them, guide them, so you get additional work from them. And of course getting reference customers from existing customers, so that big. Now with all this, obviously you get more sales. When you get more sales, you're crossing the cost limits, and obviously you are at a profit zone. Next slide please. Now typically in any organization, approvals is a tough part. You may be talking to person X, but you will hear that oh, my management has not approved, or the procurement team has not approved. So getting approvals is a tough part. It could mean a lot of negotiations. Now negotiations are not necessarily commercials only. It could be commercials, it could be functional, it could be trying to get some extra deliverables within the same scope of work. But getting timely, like every company will say my quotation is valid for 30 days. So within these 30 days you have to get the approval. So you have to keep talking to the people. You have to discuss with them, ask them, is there anything technically that I need to clarify, or so all your technical functional doubts are cleared. And then talk about commercial. And obviously if you make a sale, getting timely payment is also essential for any organization to make sure they are in business and doing well. Next slide. On a side note, I just want to thank Mona Lisa for helping me with all the slides. I had made this PPT, but from my laptop, I was unable to present it, and she offered to help. So she is presenting it, and that is why I have to take her help. So thank you, Mona Lisa. Now,
Thank you, sir.
Uh, we also talk when we are talking to clients or customers or even internal stakeholders, relationships become important. Now, this it is very simple to maintain that relationship. Simple New Year greetings, festival greetings, sometimes just an email. Even if you lose the client, there is no problem. It is always possible that somebody will say that I will go to company X because you are the costly, or I feel they are better, which is fine. But you send a New Year greeting, festival greeting, they are happy that okay, even I have not given them business, but these people are still in contact with me. So with all this, what happens initially, as we discussed, customer centric. So every time you're thinking of the customer's well-being, you're projecting, you're thinking of the customer's well-being. Now, even if the customer has not given you business, you call him a prospect, and you still wish him for New Year, wish him if there is any festival. So they know that, okay, these guys are still in contact with us. And maybe sooner or later, they might give you business. One doesn't know. Yeah, next slide, please. Now, few takeaways, which I would say: respect the customer. That is the opinions of the customer, the way of working of the customer, the culture of the customer. Now, when I say culture of the customer, some customers will say, okay, I want this service, but I will only pay this, or I want it in a certain manner. Respect their way of working. If you have a different way of working, try to convince them how it can help, but never criticize their way of working, because everybody feels how I work, I feel that is the best. How you work, you feel that is the best. So I have to respect your way of working. You have to respect my way of working. Every individual, every organization has different opinions or different viewpoints or different way of working. Respect that viewpoint and the opinions. And above all, respect the time of the customer. You have no right to waste customers or clients' time. If the client says call is at 11 o'clock, call is at 11 o'clock. If for whatever reason you are unable to make it, inform in advance, apologize for not meeting that time. But do not waste customers or clients' time. Respect their time, respect their opinions, respect their culture, way of work. Now, at any time, I have always followed that never lose focus of your client or customer. Now, we had external customers also in some of the companies that I worked. So never lose focus of your client or customer. Always think how you can help them. And like even if you don't get business, like I said, be in touch with them. Hi, hello, how are you? I hope everything is under control. That's it. So at least they know that you are in touch with them. And if you keep thinking that how can you help them, they also know that okay, this uh, people are genuine, they are ready to help us. Do not have ego. Now I have seen some sales people, marketing people, who will call up once. Now when you call somebody the first time in any organization, that individual may or may not have your phone number. So for him, it is an unknown number which is trying to call him. Now we all get calls from unknown numbers, many a times asking, telling whether you want a loan or you want a credit card or any other service offering, or from some builder. So if you say that, he doesn't even pick up my call or he doesn't even answer my call, you're just showing high ego, nothing else. All you have to do is send a SMS that I am so and so from this company. I wish to talk to you for this reason. Send him an SMS, him or her an SMS, or send an email that I'm trying to reach you. My number is this, and I wanted to talk to you about this. So if you do that, the recipient also will know. Maybe the recipient was on another call or on a conference call, or maybe in some meeting. So once the recipient gets that message, he or she will respond in most cases. But you have to shed your ego. You cannot, like, it is that seller trying to say, I am high and mighty. So that is what happens. Project on continuous improvement in the client organization. We discussed this earlier. Then, many uh, clients go for various certification. In the current scenario, all organizations say, I will have ISO certificate, I will have SOC certificate, I will have, XYZ certificates. Now, to me, again, I'm talking from my personal experience, continuous improvement should be the goal in any organization. Now, certifications are just like bus stops on the way. Yes, you got a certificate means, what does it mean? Is you have certain policies, processes documented, and people are following that. That's all it means. But what is your end goal? The end goal is, with these policies, processes, and people following those policies, processes, your organization is improving. So you're on the path of continuous improvement. So that is the way I look at it. Now inform the client, that we are here to help you to run your business effectively. But obviously, when you want to run your business, there is some cost. You want to rent a place, you have to pay rent. You have, so there are some operating expenses. So obviously, for compliances, you need to invest money. You have to spend some money to get that. So there are some running costs, operating costs, which are there. So if the client says, oh, why this compliance, like unintentional customers, somebody is forcing them. So you have to convince them, guide them that yes, this is helping you improve continuously, but there is a cost, because you have to pay for the certification, you have to pay for some training sessions. Training is also a cost, but then how does training help? It helps the employees. It helps the employees groom, and once the employees become knowledgeable, they can do a better job, so your company improves. It will also help you get additional business opportunities, maintaining relationships, and if the customer is convinced you are having them in their mind, they will give you more business at some point in time. There is nothing wrong obtaining feedback and references from existing customers. Now, feedback says, they may suggest that you have done this XYZ, but also do 1, 2, 3. So take that as a positive feedback, constructive feedback, that yes, it is also helping you improve your service or your product. And references are needed, because if some new prospects say, I want to talk to some existing customers, references always help. Feedback from client after execution, we just discussed that. Maintaining contact, and if we lose a business also, never mind, maintain the contact, and never badmouth any competitor. Because I have seen people who say, oh, this company is rubbish, this, that, and I ask them that, when you say this company is rubbish, you tell me, how are you better? Just by bad mouthing somebody doesn't mean you become better. For you to be better, you have to say that my service, I deliver 1, 2, 3, which nobody else delivers, or I deliver it at this quality, or I deliver a product which is superior. So bad mouthing anybody doesn't make you superior. Your product or your service can be superior if you deliver that superior service or product. And if you badmouth anybody, trust me, nobody respects you. They may hear you out, but they will not respect you, because they will be worried that you might badmouth them also at some point in time. So once you earn the respect of the customer, obviously you become their go-to person. So they will call you, ask you that, I need this, or I have this problem. How do you think you can help? And it can get you more business. Yep. Next slide, please, Mona Lisa. So that was it from me, sharing some thoughts and comments. And I would be happy to have your suggestions, questions, comments, whatever you have. So Mona Lisa, any questions?
Not yet, sir. If anybody would like to ask any questions, I would request them to write it in the questions tab, please.